Hello, Rectinian video. Today we're gonna take a look at my shiny and nearly 100% variant of the Tapu Lele. This Pokemon has access to the fast move Astonished, and this season this Pokemon is insane, and you're going to see it here today as well. This Pokemon is a must-have for the Master League now, and it is quite ridiculous because it had basically zero play before, but now, in my opinion, it is the best say-swap for the Master League. And you're gonna see it here today as well. Why? This Pokemon is basically safe against everything. There is not really a Pokemon right now that can really completely shut down this Pokemon. There might be some Pokemon that can, like, stat-wise or whatever, going to be able to do quite some decent stuff against it or whatever, but most of the answers to this Pokemon are weak to Astonish. And that means that you can actually usually win the 2-shield scenario because you also have the signature move of Nature's Madness, allowing you to drop the opponent's defense stats, which is ridiculous in a lot of scenarios. So here you're gonna see some quite interesting gameplay with this Pokemon here. Very, very cool there. Finally got a good one, thanks to my girlfriend as well for that one. But let's move on to the next opponent. What I have to say, there is a ginormous shift for the meta currently in the Open Master League. Be careful out there. The current shift is two different things. There are quite a lot of interesting weird Pokemon like Tapu Bulu that is available. You see 20 million Primarina, which does make sense. Pokemon just came kind of out and it's a very strong Pokemon for sure. And you see a lot of very toxic teams. So you're gonna see a lot of Rhyperior Elite, Double Charm, Giratina Elite, Double Charm, stuff like this. Like, you're gonna see quite a lot of fairy type Pokemon, but there's also gonna be one opponent, by the way, shouts to you, you're gonna most likely be in this video as well there later on, who had such a unique, cool team that I did not expect at all, and it completely destroyed me. And yeah, again, like, shouts to that opponent then as well, we're gonna see it in time. But the meta itself is not at all what we had last season, which is kind of ridiculous. So last season we basically had the core of Landorus plus Palkia everywhere, and like the odd Dialga and like the a lot of times Necrozma everywhere. This all is gone. Like, basically the entire meta is completely different towards what we saw last time. All the teams that we basically used last season I feel like are next to impossible to use right now, just because of the Sucker Punch buff, and also just because the Pokemon that got a bit nerfed and things like this, they kind of impact also what is kind of viable or not. But yeah, now we're going to take a look here at Tapu Lele, where we actually see it really in action. We're going to see the say-swap from the opponent of the Yveltal. Oh wow, that worked super well for you. Did it? It didn't, because we can actually get them insanely low with this one. Maybe I could farm them all the way down, but I rather just gonna try to get a lot of energy here onto my Xerneas, which most likely going to help me out a bit better in the long run. We use actually a shield against the Oblivion Ring. I thought actually it would do a bit more damage than it does. Oblivion Ring does around like 35% damage against Xerneas, and here we are going to be able to at least go for a Surf still. Surf got nerfed, and that is quite impactful for Kyogre. I have to talk about this a bit later as well, but Kyogre for sure got a huge change to it. I wouldn't directly say nerf, but we're going to talk about this a bit later on. But here we're going to be in a very tough spot. I waited out a bit there until I saw that the opponent goes for a Mud Slap. I can go for the knockout, and we can still win this battle by farming down the opponent's Xerneas. There are going to be some very cool games coming up here still as well with the Tapu Lele, where we're going to see a lot more for of it as well. We're going to have a double fairy line, so we're going to have an ABB style line, so you kind of have to keep your lead a bit alive at least. Here we're going to decide to let the move go through. Moonblast is coming through as well, so they can go for the Surf. Show went for one more fast move for sure, but we can still try to catch a move here maybe later with our Tapu Lele. It was a bit of a mistake here. Show went for one more fast move before, and so we decided to use a shield. But again, Tapu Lele with the Astonish fast move and the option to debuff the opponent is quite scary. And what is also kind of scary is to even get the opponent into a range where we can fully farm them down, and even if they have shield advantage, we're going to be able to drop the opponent's last Pokemon's defense basically forever, which is going to be really, really good for us, and that's exactly what we're going to try to do here as well. I'm going to go for the Side Shock, try to either force a shield or get the knockout. If they use a shield, I can swap onto the Kyogre and just knock them out, and so they decide to let the move go through, and oh, look at this, we're going to have an Yveltal in the back, allowing us to go for a charge move here. Going to be great. We're going to be able to drop the opponent's defense while getting the shield, and we are still in a very solid spot because we have another fairy type Pokemon in the back. But thanks to the debuff, thanks to the extra damage that we do now with the fast move here, thanks to the extra damage that we're going to do with the fast move of a Geomancy, I am going to be able to basically go just for the close combat. Close combat is going to be enough here for me, and so close combat is coming through. Best fast move timing that you can go for. This is going to be able to get the final shield, and I'm still going to be able to knock them out here while the opponent actually got a lot of free fast moves in here because of lag. I'm still going to be able to knock them out with one close combat thanks to the debuff from Nature's Madness. Kyogre Mirror. I guess it's going to be the best kind of day about like our timing to try to talk about the changes of this Pokemon. It's quite awkward because you now need, I think, an extra fast move. I think just one extra fast move to get to the next serve, but like you think one extra fast move, but actually 3 extra turns is quite a lot for it. And this is going to be something that you're going to see a lot of times with pacing. You're way slower. Like it's very much noticeable that the Kyogre is slower than before. Of course, like it's not rocket science there as well. If you have a +5 energy increase there, that it's going to take a little bit longer. But like for Kyogre especially, you just really see it and you really feel it. And so it's still a good Pokemon, but it is mainly good because Rhyperior is here right now. But generally speaking, if Rhyperior wouldn't be as broken as it is right now and as common as it is right now, Kyogre wouldn't really have a lot of play in the current meta, I would say. And so, interesting kind of thing there for it. I could see Waterfall being buffed in the future, making Kyogre one of the top tier meta Pokemon, because Kyogre is an interesting one. I feel like Kyogre is one of the most balanced Pokemon for the Open Master League in terms of, yeah, you can kind of buff it and you don't really, destroy all of it, because well, it has great stats, it has pretty poor coverage, and there are so many good water-type Pokemon, especially like Dragon-type Pokemon as well, especially like the Palkia Origin form. We have something like the Primarina, stuff like this. Like, there are good counters to this Pokemon. What I would like to see, by the way, for the Open Master League would be also some electric types that are very good, but right now that's not the case. But here we're sadly gonna lose the Kyogre Mirror, which we can try to get back here right now in the next opponent's, in the next battle here against the next opponent. We're going to have again the Kyogre Mirror. We're gonna go straight for the Origin Pulse, which is a bit risky, I have to say. It did work out luckily here. Of course, we're not running Thunder. Thunder makes a lot of sense on this Pokemon as well, but Origin Pulse was definitely a decent shout there. We can go for the full farm down with the Tapu Lele now. And they didn't even swap out, and so this allows us now to go for the Nature's Madness with this Pokemon. We're gonna see later on, by the way, also the matchup against a Solgaleo, against a Necrozma that is fused with the Solgaleo. We're gonna see Duskmane form. For me, like, it looks literally the same as Solgaleo, so a bit sorry about that one. But yeah, we're gonna see that matchup as well later on. It's going to be a very interesting one. Here we're gonna see Surf. Surf, by the way, got at least a damage increase, so maybe it's not too bad for it, but here we're going to be able to at least get the shield, which means we can go for 2 Moonblast, and we should be able to knock out the opponent's Primarina here, which is going to be great. We might even be able to force the debuff onto them, which sadly we are not going to be able to do here, 10% chance. But let's see what the opponent is going to try. They're going to go for the Hydro Cannon, allowing us to use our shield. We have to use another shield, but they should be kind of energy dry, and this kind of puts me into a position where I'm not forced to go straight for my Moonblast. And so I decided to wait out a turn, and this worked out super well because now we can knock them out. They're still going to be having the Rhyperior in the back. We have a lot of lag here, but it's still going to be fine as they're going to have the close combat, knocking them out and winning us this battle. Moving on now, let's see what they're going to have. They have Nihilego. This is the opponent I was talking about. Horrible lead for them. They swap on to the Tapu Bulu. Here's the thing. Tapu Bulu, hardest hitting move. They have Mega Horn a lot of times right now. They have Nature's Madness usually. But something that I did not expect, and something that I definitely respect, is what they're going to have here. Solar Beam, one-shotting me. Any other move I would have been able to survive. And so for especially the Tapu Bulu, it makes the most amount of sense to let the first move go through, as they usually go for Nature's Madness. But I did not expect to see Solar Beam on a Say-Swap Tapu Bulu today. Sorry, wasn't on my book there, but the thing is as well, the opponent now is going to be able to align themselves, which is kind of mad. And so yeah, this is a very unique team. I like the team. Team actually does make quite a lot of sense because they have a Pokemon in the lead that is going to be good against any kind of fairy type Pokemon, which are very common. You have a Say-Swap that is going to be good against, I guess, what we swapped in there as well. And then going to have a Pokemon in the back that really needs to get the fairy type Pokemon removed. And so, interesting. I kind of would like to take a look at Nihilego as well again, as Power Gem got a buff, which you see here as well. But yeah, that might be something for a future video. Next opponent, we're going to have the Primarina in the lead. A bit of a trickier one, but we can swap out straight away into the Tapu Lele just to get out again another Rhyperior, which is fine. We can go for the Nature's Madness, and that is going to be okay for us as this is going to drop the opponent's defense. We do quite a lot of damage now with our Astonish here, and honestly, like, Tapu Lele is just very, very safe as a Pokemon. Here I can let the move go through, and they are forced to go for a Rock Racket to knock me out, and so they're gonna use a ton of their energy, but interestingly enough, they can still get to another charge move. I was like, how did they get there? But Breaking Swipe gonna drop our attack, forcing us to swap out straight away basically here, which is not ideal at all. And we have to hope there's something in the back that we can kind of still deal with. But the opponent is going to be able to even get to the charge move here before I get to mine, which is actually really important for them, because otherwise I would have been able to sneak in my own fast moves all the time. Here the opponent was able to deny my fast move because I had to swap, of course. And so we are not in a great spot at all. We are gonna be able to at least go for another charge move, but you saw it here just barely. The opponent swapped out into a Shadow Tyranitar, which is gonna go down straight away, but it's going to make it basically impossible for us to win this battle, as they're gonna be forced to use a shield here on our Kyogre, and it's all down to now Kyogre against Primarina. I still try my best to go for a double serve, but like, we get them a bit lower, but it's not a double serve yet, and that's the big issue. Like, even here, I'm just so small behind basically having a double serve stored there, and so the opponent can go for a charge move. It's going to be the Hydro Cannon. It's going to not knock me out, but knock me close enough that they can farm me down in time. But we still have our Xerneas, and that is going to be enough for us to knock out that Primarina to win the battle. Next opponent, we're going to have again a lead that we kinda don't really need, but look at this. This is exactly what I mean. Necrozma's coming back in, and you might think, oh, that's the hardest answer, it's the Steel type. But it's also a Psychic type, and we have the coverage for this Pokemon, and we also have the option to drop their defense, and so we can use a shield, and we can realign, and all of a sudden, a lead that we didn't really want to have in, which is actually kind of an okay lead still, we're going to have the option to align ourselves. But not only this, we're going to be able to get the shield from the opponent, and not only this, we're also going to drop the opponent's defense, making this a great matchup for us, allowing us to align our Xerneas against them. I can take a hit, which you're going to see here as well, on how much damage it's going to do, which is around 35%. And the opponent is going to be now in the spot where they are definitely in a bit of a trouble there. We can use a shield against next, Oblivion Wing here, of course, as we can go for the not the Moonblast, actually for the Close Combat, which is a bit of a risky one, but I guess they're debuffed, so it does make sense. And they swap out into the Dialga, and I make a huge mistake. What mistake did I do here? I did go way too fast for the Close Combat. I should have just stored up 2 Close Combat and then went for the charge move. Instead, I went straight for the Close Combat, dropping my own defense, which is quite an awkward thing for me, because now it is going to be the Dialga against our Kyogre, and again, the opponent is running Thunder. And like, honestly, I told you before the meta is weird, and I'll tell you again, the meta is weird. But yeah, good game to the opponent, not a lot that I can do here. Still, you saw on what Tapu Lele can do in terms of realignment. Next opponent, let's take a look at this. We're going to take a look here at the Xerneas now against our Tapu Lele, and you're so good in the 2-shield scenario. We are going to be able to go ahead and try to go for the full farm down here. Let's see on how this is gonna go. We're gonna try our best. We will get out the Moonblast from the opponent. We can go for the full farm down here. This is looking quite nice for us. Let's see the opponent going for another Close Combat. Maybe I could have even counted this one, but now we actually 2 shields behind the opponent. What can we do here now? We can go ahead and go for a charge move against the opponent's Zacian. And as we knew the lead basically there as well, we're going to be able to align ourselves correctly, which is very important for us. We can go for a Psyshock, which is going to be able to force a shield. Maybe I should have actually went for the Moonblast. I have to say, actually, for this Pokemon, and Moonblast for the Nature's Madness, for this Pokemon, I actually would recommend you to go for Focus Blast over the Psyshock. Focus Blast is going to give you coverage against Pokemon like Dialga that people don't expect at all. Nobody's going to shield this. Going to give you coverage against other Dark-type Pokemon as well. I guess you don't really need it either, but it's definitely better than Psyshock. Psyshock was never needed for me. There was no real option where I really needed Psyshock, as you're still gonna kind of only get a benefit of going for Psyshock if you get to 2 of them, because then you're going to need one less fast move. But usually you're just going to go for the Nature's Madness anyway, farm them down with the fast move alone, and that's going to be it. Speaking of that's going to be it, is going to be it for the Kyogre here for the Spatial Rent. It is not, and we can go for the full farm down, but they swap out into that Zacian. We try to get the knockout here with that Surf. Is it going to be enough? It is, and we can win the final battle with our Kyogre, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, and if you're still here until this point, would really appreciate a like. It is free, it helps me out, and I can see you then. Bye bye.